Harry Kane is urging calm after Bayern Munich suffered their first defeat of the season, a 3-1 loss to Arsenal at the Emirates. It was a tough night for the England captain, who had a surprisingly quiet game on his return to North London. But Kane insists there's no reason to panic, and that the German champions will learn from this and bounce back stronger. So, what exactly went wrong for Bayern? And why is Kane so confident they can turn things around? Let's break it all down. Before this match, Bayern Munich were on an incredible 18-game unbeaten streak. They looked practically invincible. But that all came to a screeching halt against a fired-up Arsenal side in a huge Champions League showdown. Vincent Kompany's team actually started the match pretty well. They held their own against Arsenal's early pressure, and after Jurrien Timber put the Gunners ahead, a 17-year-old wonder kid, Lennart Karl, pulled one back for Bayern to level the score. At halftime, it felt like anyone's game. But the second half was a completely different story. The match just slipped away from Bayern. A series of uncharacteristic errors and what looked like a bit of fatigue started to creep in, and Arsenal substitutes were ready to pounce. First, Noni Madueke capitalized on a sloppy pass out from the back to put Arsenal back in the lead. Then, Gabriel Martinelli sealed the deal. Manuel Neuer came rushing out of his goal, misjudged the situation, and Martinelli coolly slotted the ball into an empty net. It was a huge blunder that really summed up Bayern's second-half collapse. Beyond the individual mistakes, Bayern just couldn't handle Arsenal's intensity. They were losing duels all over the pitch, especially from set pieces, and struggled to get out of their own half as Arsenal grew more and more dominant. Offensively, things just didn't click. The usual fluidity was gone, and the front line was left completely isolated. This brings us to Harry Kane. For a player who's been in sensational form, it was a shockingly quiet return to his old North London stomping grounds. The former Spurs star was marked out of the game. Arsenal's defenders did a brilliant job of surrounding him, and he didn't manage to get a single shot on goal in the entire 90 minutes. That's almost unheard of for a striker of his caliber. Despite the obvious frustration of the loss and his own performance, both Kane and his manager, Vincent Kompany, were quick to say this isn't the time to overreact. Reflecting on the game, Kane was honest. He admitted the performance wasn't up to the high standards they set for themselves at Bayern. He said, "It was a tough game, which is kind of what we expected. It was a good battle in the first half, which was fairly even." He went on to explain the second half, saying, "Second half, we didn't quite have the same energy or intensity, and we lost too many duels." But he was very clear about the team's mindset moving forward. "It's our first loss of the season. We don't want to panic too much about it, but we will learn about it for sure." That's the kind of leadership you want from your star player. He even added a little bit of a warning shot for Arsenal, saying, "I am sure we'll see them again in the later stages of the Champions League." That's the confidence of a man who believes his team is still one of the best in Europe, and this loss is just a bump in the road. This defeat really marks a rare moment of weakness for a Bayern side that has looked so dominant this season, both in the Bundesliga and in Europe. It also broke a pretty impressive streak they had against Arsenal, as they hadn't lost to them in their previous 5 encounters. While there were moments of quality from Bayern, especially in that first half, the way they fell apart in the second half revealed some structural issues that Vincent Kompany will now have to fix. The frustration was definitely amplified by Kane's subdued performance. He has been on fire this season, scoring 29 goals for club and country already, so to see him have such little impact was a real shock. It's a huge credit to Arsenal's defense and their tactical plan. They completely shut down the central areas, forcing Kane into wide positions where he was far less effective and couldn't link up with his teammates. From Bayern's point of view, this loss wasn't just about Arsenal being the better team on the day. It was also about their own self-inflicted wounds. The misplaced pass that led to the second goal, Neuer's rush of blood for the third, and their general inability to deal with second balls all contributed to the momentum swinging decisively in Arsenal's favor. After the match, Kompany admitted that his team was beaten by a better side and that they need to improve the details of their game. He stressed the importance of matching the intensity of Europe's elite teams in these huge, high-stakes matches. This loss serves as a major reality check. To compete for the Champions League trophy, you can't afford these kinds of lapses in concentration against top opposition. So what's next for Bayern? The good news for them is that their path in the Champions League group stage gets a lot easier from here. Their remaining games are against Sporting, Union St. Gillois, and PSV. With all due respect to those teams, they aren't on the same level as Arsenal. This means Bayern are still in a very strong position to qualify for the knockout stages and likely top their group. The immediate priority isn't to dwell on this defeat, but to learn from it. Harry Kane's calm and composed words have really set the tone for the dressing room. We can expect Vincent Kompany and his coaching staff to be hard at work on the training ground. They'll be analyzing what went wrong, particularly how they manage transitions from attack to defense and how they defend set pieces, which was a clear area of weakness against Arsenal. They'll need to figure out how to avoid getting caught on the counterattack and how to assure their star players, like Kane, don't get isolated again. Despite this setback, the big picture for Bayern Munich is still incredibly positive. This loss exposed a few cracks, yes, but their overall consistency and the sheer talent and experience in their squad mean they are still one of the top contenders in Europe. A single loss doesn't change that. This team has the character and the leadership to bounce back quickly and use this experience to become even stronger. They will recalibrate, make the necessary adjustments, and come back ready for the next challenge. For Harry Kane, it was a frustrating night, but his focus is already on the future, and he's confident that Bayern will have the final say when it really matters. Thanks so much for watching. What did you think of the match? Do you agree with Kane that there's no need to panic, or are there bigger problems at Bayern? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more football analysis. See you in the next one.